Go.
Well, Mr. Megabucks, we thank you for coming to meet with us tonight at the Ideal Public Library. We have several requests we'd like to put forward to you as we talk about the revitalization of our library and the way of making our library last another 100 years into the future. Your fiscal investment is critical for our revitalization. David Lamkeys has said that bad libraries build collections, good libraries build services, great libraries build communities. We seek to be a great library. We have a collection, we have services, and we have a community. We need your help to make our collection and our services and our communities all work together to make a fantastic public library with public access for everyone. Right now, we are seeking to make our building friendly and accessible for people of all ages and abilities. We are seeking to restructure areas of the building for better programming options. We hope to improve online and digital access for technology users and all hours access to library materials and services. And to state it again, we are seeking to secure our library's relevancy in the 21st century through contemporary programming, public buy-in, and community access. Here at the Ideal Library, we want to connect our ideal building with our ideal community, and that's where we need your help. Our fiscal request will strengthen that symbiotic relationship we are growing. I, Laura Poser Brown, will be requesting funding to purchase our building and monies to create a family makerspace.
Hello, I'm Erin Haley Reese, and I'll be speaking with you tonight about green building upgrades to improve user comfort and the installation of safe, sustainable, and fully accessible family restrooms.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Horton, and I will be discussing our need for an upgrade in furniture throughout the library and the addition of a new teen center.
Hello, my name is Bree Willette, and I will be seeking funding for self-service kiosk, digital signage, and creating the ideal genealogy and archive space.
And I am Tara Ramos, and I will address how we can improve our users' online experience by revamping our website and modernizing our catalog.
Aristotle said that democracy is when the indigent and not the men of property are the rulers. We at the Ideal Public Library are seeking to purchase our building. Currently, our building is owned by the Ideal Friends of the Library. The Ideal Friends of the Library have been leasing our building to us for a minimal amount. However, we would now like to purchase our building because of the capital improvements we are making to the facility. If management can secure our building in the public's name, it will help our building to be safe for future generations' use in case the Friends of the Library goes defective or defunct. Our building is 8,800 square feet. Its current real estate value is between $6 and $7 million. The Friends of the Library, however, are willing to sell it for a mere $750,000, the amount we are seeking your request in the amount we are requesting your aid in acquiring.
Now, taking ownership of our building will present some fresh opportunities for addressing some of the ongoing issues with our facility. The first set of challenges we'd like to tackle have to do with the temperatures and ventilation in our building. The comfort of our patrons and staff has been a chronic problem, particularly in the summer and during heat waves, which are becoming regular and extended. According to a report from the State Energy Commission, average temperatures are projected to rise by 2.7 degrees over all seasons within the next 35 years, with dramatic increases in the number of extreme heat days. As temperatures rise, demand for energy goes up, putting pressure on supply and resulting in price increases and outages. A 2006 Library Journal budget report revealed how rapidly rising energy costs that year impacted libraries, which saw drastic cutbacks across the board as a result. At our library, we've been responding to rising temperatures reactively, with solutions like amping up the air conditioning, plugging in electric fans, leaving the front doors propped open. We've even had occasional program cancellations and closures. But we need to start making smart, sustainable, and strategic changes to improve conditions for our users and staff. Our library is in a historic building, so we don't have the luxury of starting from scratch with state-of-the-art green construction. But there are intelligent, incremental steps we can take that will increase our energy efficiency and decrease our energy expenditures, all with a focus on making the library more comfortable. We've already made operational adjustments towards sustainability, like manually shutting down unused equipment and lights. Now we're seeking funding for a pilot program focused on comprehensive upgrades to our windows and lighting. Our current windows are pretty large and do a good job of bringing in natural light to many parts of the library, but they're original to the building and poorly insulated, and they don't open to allow for cross ventilation. We need to upgrade the windows throughout the building to double or triple glazed glass with a segmented design, like the ones you see in these photos of a recently renovated library in Berkeley, California. You can see how the upper panes of glass are operable. As warm air rises in the room, it can escape through the openings, which are controlled by a central automation system, and fresh air and breezes can enter the space. In the center photo, you can see the children's section. The window design allows for ventilation while also preserving safety and security for users. Now, also contributing to the high temperatures are our outdated light fixtures. Electric lighting typically accounts for upwards of 25% of the energy spending for libraries, and older, inefficient lighting like ours not only demands more power, it also generates more heat. Overhauling lighting can result in dramatic savings, as in the case of the Madison Public Library, which recently completed a full lighting upgrade and saw a 70% reduction in energy usage. The library estimates that will equate to roughly $33,000 per year in energy savings. We want to replace our outdated fluorescent ceiling fixtures with efficient LED lights, which last up to 10 times longer than fluorescents, use up to 90% less electricity, and throw off less heat. The wide range of available LED fixtures also allows for more targeted installation, so we can put light where it's most needed and let natural light do the rest. The building monitoring system I mentioned earlier can also be enabled to control lighting with occupancy sensors, power scheduling, and automatic dimmers that adjust the amount of light to compensate for varying levels of daylight throughout the day. We estimate the cost of this pilot sustainability project to be $250,000, including the new windows, upgraded lighting, and the building monitoring system, as well as staff training for that system. The American Library Association, at its 2015 annual conference, passed a sustainability resolution stating, in part, quote, "Libraries that demonstrate leadership in making sustainable decisions to address climate change and create healthy environments will stabilize and reduce their long-term energy costs, help build more sustainable communities, and increase community support for the library. With your help, we can fulfill that pledge."
Another way to make our library more inviting and functional is by replacing its furniture. Whether it's a teenager who wants to lounge comfortably while reading the latest YA novel, or a group of college students who seek a quiet sanctuary for their studies, these library users may have different needs and purposes for visiting, but they all expect the same thing, that the library will provide a functional and comfortable space for them. And one of the best examples of providing this type of comfort and accommodation is through furniture. Overall, our library's furniture needs to be replaced with more colorful and modern pieces. For example, our current adult reading room with its outdated folding tables and hard, unwelcoming chairs does not make the library very approachable. These tables and chairs are set up in addition to the existing study space, which is also outdated. The reading chairs are rickety and have torn upholstery, which makes the library feel old and neglected. In order to make the library more attractive to those we hope will use it, we need to upgrade our furniture. We have identified some features that will make our library more attractive to patrons, while at the same time serving a functional use that users will also appreciate. For example, the simple, clean design of the reading chairs and tables, as well as their compact appearance, will make more efficient use of space. Modern seating and tables will also provide a splash of color, while at the same time this upgrade will provide ergonomic comfort. Study carrels will give those patrons who are looking for a more individual study space the privacy they need. Fun, child-sized furniture will make our children's section more inviting. We also seek to purchase furniture that is ADA compliant and which will accommodate all of our patrons. We currently have 2 meeting rooms, but they too are in need of new tables and seating. Another issue is that of storage. We would like to replace our traditional shelving and follow the current trend of space-saving mobile shelving units for book and media collections throughout the library. This will allow us to maximize our library space and will give us more options when reconfiguring our space, such as for special events. We also believe the library would greatly benefit from a new circulation desk. This desk is the library's first impression as patrons walk in, so it should be modern and it should have all of the add-ons the staff needs to make circulation services as efficient and pleasant as possible. Also, the current reference desk is easy to miss and needs to be replaced with a modern look. And finally, the processing area in the back needs more functional tables and storage, which will help the staff when working in that area. We anticipate the library's furniture budget will not exceed $500,000.
With all these upgrades, we're sure that the library is going to receive more foot traffic. And these days, everyone is in a hurry, and library patrons are no exceptions. Patrons have already mentioned on several occasions that they've become discouraged and impatient while waiting in line to check out books or ask questions. On average, the library has a 10-minute checkout time during peak hours. So how do we help our patrons feel important and show them we value their time? By installing self-service kiosks. These kiosks will increase speed of checkout, increase patron privacy, reduce staff repetitive stress injuries, reallocate staff resources to direct patron service. Placing self-service kiosks in the library will allow customers to check out books and return books and media with ease. We want to take this technology a step further. We'd like to place kiosks throughout the library. This will allow patrons the ability to choose where they would like to check out books or DVDs or media. For example, patrons will have the ability to check out these items at several locations throughout the library, meaning patrons are no longer limited to using one designated checkout line. Self-checkout is easy, quick, and efficient. The patron only needs to swipe their library card and scan the book to complete the transaction. The kiosk can also take late payments. While patrons are encouraged to empower themselves by using self-checkout, we know some patrons are more comfortable with face-to-face interaction. Our goal is to have 75% of our checkout be completed through self-service and 25% at circulation desk. Wait times and patron expectations don't stop at checking out books. During peak hours, the library's circulation desk is bombarded with people asking questions. Many people become aggravated and walk off unsatisfied and without having questions answered because they refuse to wait. Placing 60-inch touch LCD screen digital signboards in the lobby will empower and eliminate wait times. The touch screens signs will offer the opportunity to access our collection, locate books, view our calendar, register for an event, reserve a room, and they have the ability to do this in 5 languages. We also would like this technology in a smaller form at the end of shelves. For example, by adding iPad size mounted on the end of shelving, this will help our customers just be able to find what they are looking for, and this will also enable them to do this without having to walk back to the front or try and find someone to help them. According to LabCorp.com, digital signs will help advertise events, activities, library resources, and InfoView digital signboards is web-based format that allows people to put together powerful and exciting elaborate messaging to promote and market your library events collection. There are no limits to your messaging. There are no limits of how your messaging will be expressed. Anything you have in mind can communicate, you can achieve it through InfoView. Many patrons have complained the library isn't sufficient with notifying the community of upcoming events, news, or resources the library has to offer. So this technology will eliminate the issue. According to our neighboring library, the library But after installing touchscreen LCD screens at the information desk and LCD mounted screens, they increased attendance of their activities by 40%. This is a great resource for the library, not only because it provides a cohesive flow, but because the monitors are more eye-catching than paper flyers. So how much are we seeking? I'm seeking $150,000 to cover 4 self-service LATQ kiosks, 4 freestanding Smart Serve kiosks, 2 60-inch LCD screens, and 6 55-inch digital information signboards.
As you can see, the projects for which we're seeking funding all revolve around a central goal: better service to our community. Our next request goes toward improving service on a very basic level for all our patrons, but with a special focus on our largest segment of users, families and young children. Our library is located at the heart of a diverse, pedestrian-friendly neighborhood that has been steadily revitalizing over the last several years. Young homebuyers and families are relocating here in droves to escape skyrocketing housing prices in nearby cities and to take advantage of our area's historic charm and convenience. As you can see, our site is adjacent to a playground, which is bustling 7 days a week. Our entrance essentially becomes a stroller parking lot on Saturday mornings for our family story time. More than 60% of our circulated materials are children's books and media, and a large portion of the public square footage in the building is devoted to this group. Remarkably, however, our library doesn't have an on-site restroom. We share a separate public restroom building with the adjacent park. These restrooms are poorly maintained and covered in graffiti. They have no air conditioning or heating and no diaper changing facilities. Obviously, this is a problem for all our users, but for us, the issue represents a major shortfall in service, especially to children and families. When our young patrons need to use the bathroom, often urgently as happens with small children, their parents have to take them out of the building, no matter the weather, and walk to the park restroom. They sometimes abandon programs abruptly and leave materials they were going to check out in the aisles or on the communal tables. Caretakers have been observed changing babies on the floor, on park benches, or on a concrete ledge just outside the library. We've asked patrons not to do this, but we provide no other option for them. One parent told staff that she had to stop visiting the library altogether when her preschooler was toilet training. Look, no one really wants to talk about bathrooms when exploring ways to improve libraries. But how can we hope to bring in more users or initiate expansions to programs and collections for them without first providing for their basic comfort and dignity? Now, there were restrooms in the building at one time, and they were fortunately right next to the children's area, but they were closed several years ago when needed repairs couldn't be covered in the budget. Now we're requesting funds to renovate and reopen those restrooms. Both restrooms will be designated as gender neutral and will include signage to encourage use of either room by any patron. There'll be single occupancy to allow for privacy and to make space for disabled patrons and caretakers with children. Each restroom should include diaper changing tables, of course, and the sinks should be equipped with unobtrusive fold-down step stools. We intend to install water-saving and energy-efficient fixtures that will make a minimum impact on the utilities budget moving forward. We'd also like to install a new drinking fountain whose design allows for filling of reusable water bottles. This is good for wheelchair-using patrons, small children, and breastfeeding mothers, and it makes a strong statement about our library's commitment to sustainability. I like that joke there in the chat area about the wolf. I'll talk about that in a moment. Fortunately, we're open to all species. Finally, our patrons deserve a space that is not only functional, but also attractive. As you can see in this photo of a children's museum in Chicago, they partnered with local artists who painted different murals in each restroom. Doing something similar at our library, perhaps putting out a call for proposals from some of our gifted teen artists, would further deepen our investment in and connection to our community. We expect the renovations to cost an amount not to exceed $30,000. To answer a common question, we also do expect a minor increase to janitorial costs. But an interesting recent precedent in our county gives us confidence that we can turn to the city to greatly offset or to cover this cost. Earlier this year, a library in our county noticed its budgeted janitorial service was insufficient for an increase in visitors, particularly in the restrooms. The library was successful in convincing the city to add the library's public restrooms to the city's janitorial contract on the grounds that, quote, Clean facilities are essential for the health and safety of the general public, as well as the city employees who work at the library. We know that families are among library's most frequent visitors and ardent supporters, but we can't rest on the laurels of this group's support without making the library a place that reflects how much we also value them.
Along with accommodating families, we also seek to welcome our teen patrons, which is why we recommend the addition of a teen center. The library is located 1 block away from a middle school and less than 2 miles from a high school. You would assume that a library in such close proximity to schools would take full advantage of this almost built-in patron group. However, that is not the case. There is no teen area or space found anywhere in the library. Those teens that do come in after school congregate at a few unmarked tables. On any given day, you can drive by after school and see groups of students hanging around outside the library with nothing to do and apparently no desire to even go in. Although YA and teen books have steadily become among the most popular items that we circulate, the teens who use the library have not ever had a comfortable space devoted for their use, whether for relaxing after school or working on homework or exploring through creativity. The library, thus far, has failed to accommodate and genuinely welcome this group. According to School Library Journal, after the Chicago Public Library System expanded and upgraded their teen media centers, teen patrons reported more involvement in their chosen interests, improvement in at least one digital media skill and academic skills, and better understanding about opportunities after high school. We envision offering the same types of services for the young people in our community. Thus, we present the Idea Lab, a 1,200-foot expansion of the library space, and a place where 6th through 12th graders can work with computers loaded with technology and multimedia tools for music and video production. It would also have interactive programming, digital photography, graphic design, and STEAM materials. We also seek to purchase a musical instrument collection. Some of the middle school students like to sit on the grass outside the library and play their guitars or ukuleles while waiting for their parents to pick them up. With the addition of a teen center, these and other students would be invited to bring their instruments inside the library or to borrow from our collection of musical instruments for writing and recording music in a soundproof music room with recording equipment. We want a nice balance of fun and educational experiences. Our teen patrons would have access to a projector and large screen for gaming programs, movie screenings, and classes. And when it comes to classes, our teens would benefit from new programming that would cover topics such as test preparation, career and college readiness, and technology. According to the library's calendar, it currently only offers 1 to 2 teen events per month. By creating and working with a teen advisory group, we hope to have a variety of teen activities and events in order to attract that underserved group and to continue to increase our YA book circulation. Finally, our Idea Lab would hold an annual showcase night, which would allow the library to reach out to specific audiences, such as community leaders or non-library users, while having our teen patrons showcase their work and explain the importance of having their own space. It is anticipated that the expansion and construction budget for a new teen center will not exceed $1 million. You know, it's said that budgets are statements of value, and the funds for enhancements, such as the creation of a teen center, reflect the library's belief that information, shared community space, and creativity really do matter.
Improving the library experience for families and teens is extremely important to the library, but so is community and heritage. The Genealogy and Archives section gives patrons a space to socialize, discuss heritage, diversity, and form bonds with others in the community while learning about the past. According to Genealogy and Times magazine, about 1 in 40 people are conducting some type of ancestral research on some level. The interest ranges from general interest, knowing a family member who's researching your ancestors, a person who keeps a copy of their family tree, and a person who conducts ancestral research. Even though our library is centrally located, the genealogy section has seen a decrease in visitors over the years. Now genealogy patrons flock to the new library across town. The new library provides an abundance of reference materials, more resources, and technology. At this time, the library cannot accommodate patrons' genealogy needs, but we are seeking funds to upgrade the current space and transform it into the ideal space for genealogy research. The genealogy section has 750 square feet designated to the collection, but not enough resources to fill the shelves. We also have a part-time genealogist librarian, 2 volunteers, and a very small collection of only 200 books designated to us. So how do we get our patrons back? We want to show patrons we realize the importance of their research by adding 3,000 books to fill the 40 existing shelves in these categories. The books will include beginner and how-to books, archival books from our city, a few books from each state, books from other countries, and we would like to embrace our culturally diverse city by offering African American, Hispanic, Asian, Irish, and Native American genealogy books, for example. The genealogy department is seeking $110,000 for funding. This will cover books, technology, including computers, iPads, scanners, printers, a copy machine, and an archival display case to house expensive reference books and materials and artifacts. Genealogy is very important to our community, and we definitely want to get this going so that our patrons will understand that we care about them as well.
Because we are librarians who do care about our patrons and our community, we are seeking funding to create a family makerspace. Please don't confuse the family makerspace with the teen center. Let's emphasize, this is a family makerspace where children, teens, and adults will all be welcome to come and create. Librarians have had making and creativity in their libraries for decades. We've had knitting clubs, photography groups, student news crews, drama nights, band ensembles, art exhibits, student web pages, all of this going on and being exhibited in the library for quite some time. It just has a more specific name now. We call them maker spaces. You might also have heard them called learning commons or learning labs. Learning labs or maker spaces are places where people with the same interests can meet, socialize, and cooperate. They use a combination of digital technology and traditional handicrafts where people make products, use 3D printers, laser cutters, and other technology like sewing machines, leather punches, and even paints, crayons, and markers. Our patrons would come and work on projects and share their experiences and knowledge to make the makerspace a wonderful place of community. There is a strong overlap between makerspaces and public libraries that we can easily tap into, one that can enhance both libraries and the communities we serve by providing a space for knowledge creation and allowing members to create a new path for library services, keeping us relevant for the coming century. Maker spaces are said to be the great social equalizer because patrons engage in activities for personal rather than social reasons and thus are willing to work and learn across social boundaries. In our makerspace, we would choose a different focus each month, whether learning how to code for a computer program, learning how to sew pillows, or learning how to collage a craft book. Whatever theme we want, whatever theme the community is requesting, as long as it's financially feasible, is where we would take our makerspace. The focus is on the doing, not on the sophistication of the tools being used or the expense. When creating a makerspace, there are several common considerations, including location within the building, cost for the program, staff availability and training, and materials used for the makerspace. It is important to have a makerspace that is frequently available so that it is friendly for patrons to access. We would also need to have significant time set aside to train the staff on using the technologies in the makerspace, especially 3D printers, laser printers, and computer programs. One of the ways we would make our makerspace initially introduced to the public is through an orientation workshop, where we would cover the rules, policies, and safety guidelines for our space. After completing that session, which we would hold numerous ones throughout the first several months of running the makerspace and sporadically thereafter, users would sign a release form saying that they understand. They would sign a user agreement saying they would abide by the rules, and then they could probably use the space without library supervision. This would also take place during our pilot phase, the time in which there would be no charge to use any of the equipment, tools, or consumable materials. During that pilot phase, we would be gathering realistic data on costs for running the equipment and maintaining the machines. We would also build a good estimate of the amount of consumables used, like paper, yarn, string, markers, glue, and so on. For some of this equipment, we might eventually have to ask that users supply their own consumable materials, but we definitely don't want to do that during the pilot phase, because as much as we can keep this a free service, that's what we hope to do. Overall, when we look at a makerspace as a project for the future, we can look at what Lorraine Shinzu, a principal in a local public school, said. How can we change our library from a quiet place where kids get books to a heavily used and exciting place where kids learn? In a makerspace, we need to keep in mind many different sources of financial use, such as green screen video, Lego robotics, makey materials, a collaboration center, hex bug kits, an interactive digital board for writing and manipulating, an iPad tech bar, coding programs, an iMovie center, even a drama or puppet area. In addition to these materials and technology purchases, we will need to renovate 300 square feet of our building for the makerspace. We will need to improve electrical access, internet access, and storage for the area, plus purchase industrial furniture. We anticipate the total makerspace project to cost an amount not to exceed $325,000. In today's world, cultivating an interest in technology is extremely beneficial, not only to ourselves as librarians, but to the community. It raises digital literacy and provides a deeper understanding of the changing world. If management can fund and implement a makerspace in our library, we will be providing a new environment with varied interest points to increase community involvement at our facility.
User experience, or UX for short, seems to be a buzzword in library design and management these days. The idea behind UX is that we design and manage our libraries in ways that maximize our patrons' experiences. Its focus is on patrons, those we serve, and making sure our libraries are designed and managed for their success, because, after all, their success is our success. In this presentation, you have heard many proposals about how we can improve user experience in our library on a facilities level. Now, I would like to talk about how we can take this idea of UX to improve patrons' online experiences. Our current website is outdated in both content and design, and therefore it is not being used to its full potential. Patrons do not turn to it much. They may go to it to find a link to our catalog or to another website, but any information they might look for about our library and programming is outdated, and therefore it leads to confusion, frustration, and disappointment. In order to address this issue, our digital management team did some research on library websites and found that the library websites that are rated highest for accessibility and usability stick to three main guidelines. They are useful, meaning that the most highly solicited content should get priority in layout. They are brief, meaning readable and jargon-free. And they are clean, meaning all content is up to date and extraneous content is not included. The Salt Lake City Public Library System's website presents a great example of these three important elements. In 5 seconds or less, most users would be able to find the library catalog, find what events are happening at the library, or ask a librarian a question. We would like to create a website similar to Salt Lake's, and because it came up in the research as one of the most solicited pieces of information, we would also add a section to the opening page where patrons can easily find library location and hours. This website rehaul will cost us about $50,000. That quote includes a library website design firm's consultation, the creation of a website maintenance plan, and training for staff who will take on managing the website as a part of their duties. Once our website is updated, we will also want to adopt a library catalog system that provides an easy transition from the website to the online catalog. The Salt Lake City Public Library, once again, provides us with an excellent example. The transition between their website and the catalog is pretty much seamless. For this reason, we would like to turn to Polaris Integrated Library System for our library catalog needs. One of the benefits that the Polaris system provides is that users can access our catalog using apps on mobile devices. This will greatly improve user experience, as they will be able to search for materials on their own devices, hence the BYOD you see in the slide, and not have to continually return to a library computer station as they search for materials. In addition, using the Polaris system, we will also be able to provide integrated e-content to our patrons from Access 360, Overdrive, and the 3M Cloud Library. One final exciting feature is that Polaris can integrate our catalog into our Facebook and Twitter accounts so patrons can look for the latest trending materials and interact with our library while on their favorite social networks. The update to the Polaris system will have a tremendous positive impact on our current users' experience, and I believe it will even attract new users to the library. At roughly $100,000, the Polaris catalog system will be well worth the investment.
Our library exists in a great community. We have so many ideas that are bursting forth to help management make this a fantastic place for our library to exist and for our patrons to live. We are seeking to make our building friendly and accessible for people of all ages and abilities. We need monies to restructure areas of the building for better programming options. We want to improve our online and digital access for technology users and all hours access to library materials and services. Overarching all of these goals is our desire, ambition, and utmost wish to secure our library's relevancy in the 21st century through contemporary programming, public buy-in, and community access. Now, Mr. Megabucks, we have a question for you. As librarians, how can we help you? Thank you.
Okay, everyone. I did not find any red marks. No questions. Good. Okay, I'll give you 10 out of 10. Wow, I think you're the first tonight. That's good.
Woohoo! Yay, thank you. So excited.
Maybe I'm just tired.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
I did, however, make 4 pages of notes for you, so that's good. Yeah, I'll put this all into some feedback for you and get it to you tomorrow. If you'll take the next 8 minutes to submit a paragraph or 2 in the Unit 5 gradebook for me, I will then know that you're ready for the rest. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Did well. Let me just remind you also that we're having our last live collaborate for the class, first week of December. I think maybe 2nd. I can't remember the exact date. Hope to see you there. It'll be a really good one. And the student opinion and teaching effectiveness surveys, don't forget to fill those out. And that's all. All right. Okay, everyone, have a good rest of the day or night and good weekend.
Great, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.